Oftentimes in years gone by, I felt the festive season swish by in a blur. All those things I'd been looking forward to, and all the other things I needed to do, they got done. But I wasn't really fully there for any of it in the way I would have liked to have been. Sometimes my successful self would be calmly, methodically succeeding in ticking off the list, and it was as if I'd lost control of the machine I was driving, so I was just sitting back watching it all unfold. And it turned out the self-driving vehicle I was in was doing well, so it didn't need me, as confirmed by the achieved list and societal validation. And so I sat further back. But in doing that, I wasn't fully in anything. This was an interesting position to be in. I was outwardly a success, but inwardly separate from it. Others seemed to take more joy in me and my ticked-off list than I did.
On Stories of Self, we go on journeys into the lives of ourselves and others. We see how stories connect, how they diverge, and how we can create our worlds and solve our problems. This is the real-life remix of storytelling, which is so often stranger than fiction. So come and sit round the fire, chill by the ocean, or get a coffee with me, as I delve into the stories of self that make, break, and remake us. Some stories are dramatic, some are serene, some will magically mirror you, and some will be delightfully different. I'm your host, Katie Reeve-Arnold, and this is Stories of Self.
I'm dreaming of... Actually, what kind of festive season am I dreaming of? What kind of festive season are you dreaming of? This is a time of year when a lot of us go into list mode. Cue puns related to making one, checking it twice, all that kind of thing. But all of this listing and checking things off can, on one hand, feel good, as if we're actually getting somewhere. But on the other hand, it can feel a bit like what we chatted about last week. Like we're chasing an end goal, or even like we are pressurized towards an end goal by ourselves, family, and society. It's not necessarily a pressure exerted intentionally, but it can be felt all the same. And it can turn things we love or we're looking forward to into just another thing to check off the list, while our minds range on into the next items that are listed already. But at the same time, if we want to create the space and time that we want to, then we do need to get things done in advance. So is there a trick to this? Or several tricks, maybe? To retain that enjoyment of the things on the list that we've been looking forward to doing. To not feel overwhelmed or swept away. To stay in joy mode rather than switching our festive holiday time into some kind of work mode. Oftentimes in years gone by, I felt the festive season swish by in a blur. All those things I'd been looking forward to, and all the other things I needed to do, they got done. But I wasn't really fully there for any of it in the way I would have liked to have been. Sometimes my successful self would be calmly, methodically succeeding in ticking off the list, and it was as if I'd lost control of the machine I was driving, so I was just sitting back watching it all unfold. And it turned out the self-driving vehicle I was in was doing well, so it didn't need me, as confirmed by the achieved list and societal validation. And so I sat further back. But in doing that, I wasn't fully in anything. This was an interesting position to be in. I was outwardly a success, but inwardly separate from it. Others seemed to take more joy in me and my ticked-off list than I did. So I was ticking all the boxes, but while I was right there in it, I was also somehow feeling so far away from it all that I wasn't really fully part of any of it. Christmas dinner prep, check. Christmas Eve movie, check. Wrapping paper, check. Participation, check. Christmas presents, check. My actual presence? Maybe. Somewhere. I had to be somewhere, right? You know, when you take a photo and a person is fully in it, the smile reaches their eyes and they're caught on camera alive and vibrant in that moment. Well, I had found a trick of making it look like the smile reached my eyes, but actually the shutters were down behind them, and I was another layer or two or three back. And I was the only one who knew this, but I wasn't the only one who experienced this. When we're not fully present and engaged in what we are doing and the people we are with, it carries through. Our absence is felt. Although often it can be swamped by up and caught up in the maelstrom of everything else that's going on, we are, after all, each the centre of our own worlds, and people often won't question us, but will just let us be. And in that way, another year can pass not fully lived. So how? How to be in the moment and live it fully? How to bring that joy and presence to your eyes truly and flow into the eternal ethereal now? In my quest to actually be more within my own life, rather than to just appear as successful and diligent, but an often stressed spectre of myself, appearing to be me, but a hollow version with the true core of me missing, I tried many different things. And I tried them all at once. There's a big school of thought that says just change one thing at a time in order to make that change sustainable. And I'm a scientist, so I know that in science we change one thing at a time in order to be able to measure what impact that change has. But the older I get, the more I advocate for just jumping in. Change whatever you want, however much you want, when you want, and if you want, then change it all at once. Because it is the wanting that is the important thing, not the scheduling. When we want something, then we are keen to step into it, to be it now. And being it now is the road to it becoming reality. The first thing I did was deliberately stop pressurizing myself to be some external image of perfect and to repeat to myself that I was being perfectly me. Nothing that was based on a design orientating outside or originating outside of me could be as perfect as what was truly coming from within me. And I reinforced that by noticing that what I really value about others is their uniqueness. At the same time, I got realistic. Not in a gloomy way, but in a radical acceptance of what I actually wanted or needed. What was really important to me? And in recognition of the fact that a lot of things are actually not as important as their presence on my list had made them seem. They would be nice, but the world was not going to end if I did not get them sorted. Through my whole day, I applied a language change. In fact, I applied it so strongly that very quickly I noticed others around me start to pick up on it in their own language and mirror my changes. I didn't have to go Xmas shopping anymore. I wanted to go Christmas shopping. And I didn't need to put up decorations. I got to. I didn't have to prepare, need to see people. Rather, I was going to. I wanted to. I am choosing to. It sounds like a small and maybe even really pedantic change, but try it. What have you got to lose? It literally costs nothing to change the way you say something, but it actually makes a huge difference in how you reflect on that thing. I also always take a breath as I start doing things. I think of it as a moment to meditate, but I don't know if that will translate, as the entire world seems to see meditation as something you do cross-legged in silence with your eyes shut for hours. When I see the practice of meditation as something you do in order to become, you become the meditation. In that, you live in a state of meditation, which means it would be somewhat challenging for it to require cross-legged silence all the time. So let's think of my moment to meditate as taking a pause. P is for pause, because that way you can't forget to. A is for awareness. So you pause for just a few seconds, a second, a fraction of a second even, to come into this awareness. Time, after all, is completely relative, and it is your intention and presence in it that stretches or contracts it. Awareness of yourself, this moment, where you are, what is coming, and your intention. That's the awareness we're looking for. U and S are for use your senses. So you could look around you, pick out things you hadn't noticed before or recently about a space, listen to the sounds around you, look for smells, tastes, feels around you. And E is for enjoy. Or it could be embrace or experience, whatever works for you. It is a reminder that you are choosing to be there. And there is where you are. It draws your energy back from the ghosts of list items past and future, so that you are not a ghost in your own present. The final thing I jumped into, which feels really opulent to me, but is actually the best thing for everyone I interact with, is to schedule in stops for me. Instead of cramming in enough listed items on my to-do list every day to require an extra 8 hours in the day, I scheduled in times to stop, to let go of all the threads of all that's going on, and to, maybe only for 5 minutes, have a warm drink in peace or a walk, a longer route in the park. Maybe watch a movie. The time span is what's available to you, but we can always find that little moment to stop, I think. It's better for everyone if we do. And the weirdest thing is, because time is relative, when I started taking time out for me, I still got everything else done, but I got it done in less time. In fact, I got more done than I could have if I hadn't taken time out for me. Because time is funny like that. So I jumped into being present in many ways, and it worked. And now, especially at Christmas time, or any festive or celebratory occasion or event that I've been looking forward to, I draw myself fully into it using these techniques and choices. Give all, some, one of them a go. Give your own ideas a go. But if you want something to change, then change something. Try being more light-hearted with your list and giving up the perfectionism. Try noticing what on your list actually means the most to you and how much a lot of it might not really matter. Reinforce the narrative you want in your life. Most of us want more happiness and joy and peace. So use language that reflects that. Look for it and notice that in what you are choosing to do by pausing for a second or 3 regularly. This is an addictive habit because it really increases the value of all that comes directly after it. Pause, awareness, use senses, and enjoy. And schedule in some stops and jump into them. Then take that energy with you into everything else. Remembering your narrative as you go forward. I get to, or want to, or I'm choosing to, rather than I have to or need to. You choose you. Choose to make your festive season merry and bright. And I'm sending my love to you all.
We are all telling our stories. And we are all telling ourselves stories about it all. Are you brave enough to walk with me into hearing, considering and understanding the stories we tell? Join me next time, where we'll be considering more stories and illusions and stepping into creating the freedom we desire. Every moment, we are who we are choosing to be. You choose you, because your story matters.